Okay, Wizards, coming to you with a new Izzet Discard deck. This is my take on it. You'll notice we're not running Monument. We're not running a couple of cards you might have seen in other decks. Really, this is a almost aggro, barely mid-range Izzet Discard deck that is really focused on the Makos and the Skyrays and the Thrillrollers, coming in and dealing as much damage as you possibly can turn 5, turn 6, looking to close out the game before a lot of these more slower decks can handle it, while having some pretty good removal in Burst Lightning and Broadside Barrage for the other aggro decks out there. Now, we are playing a lot of rares in this deck, unfortunately. You'll notice 2 mythic rares here in the Chandra Spark Hunter. This is a card you don't have to run, but man, have I had a lot of fun with this with the Thrillroller, and on at least one occasion where I had a Thrillroller, the Fear of Missing Out, the Spark Hunter, and the vehicle created by Chandra, and I had Thrillroller attack off the initial Spark Hunter. Fear of Missing Out gave me a second combat step. Chandra then triggers again, and I get the other vehicle into play, and I end up winning. Some fun lines there that Chandra creates. It also just does the +2 artifact or discard a card, and I have had multiple times where I'm very, very close to -7, and at least one time where I have. Ultimately, starting off at 4, getting +2, means it doesn't take long to get to the -7, and then whenever an artifact you control enters, this emblem deals 3 damage to any target. We have 7 artifacts. It's not a lot. It's not nothing. Ultimately, though, you don't have to play it if you don't have it or don't want her. Captain Howler sees Scourge is a fun 4 mana, 5/4, Ward 2, pay 2 life, and when you discard a card, target creature gets +2/+0, and when that card deals damage, it draws a card for each time you have done this +2/+0. Also a good 4-drop. This is really the top of our curve. It comes down. You discard a card off of something like Boosted Sloop during your attack or Inti during your attack step, and you suddenly are swinging for an additional 2 on your Mako or Skyray, perhaps, getting a card draw afterwards. It's quite good. Plus, it's hard to remove. Ward 2 plus they gotta pay the 2 life means that they can remove it, but it's not cheap to do so. And the rest of our cards are just about that discard. Charming Scoundrel, if you happen to have these in your collection already, I think they make a good addition. 1 mana and red for a human rogue. Haste, discard a card, then draw a card is what we're using for it most of the time. Create a treasure token or a wicked roll, though, is not useless. Definitely consider those options. Fear of Missing Out, great card. Enters, discard a card, draw a card, and the Delirium gives you that extra combat trigger. The Intis. I'm running 3 of them here. You don't have to, but man, a Mako and an Inti. Turn 1, turn 2 is really good. You attack, you get the trample, which is so big on the Mako. And you're doing discard the whole time. So turn 2, it's not uncommon to have a 3/3 Mako with trample. Quite strong, and you're only going to go up from there into, say, a Broadside Barrage, deal 5 damage to target creature Planeswalker, and then draw a card. Boosted Sloop every time you attack, not necessarily with this card, right? Just whenever you attack. Draw a card, discard, but it's also a 3/3 for Crew 1 Menace. Okay, it's totally usable. Throw Possibility, I liked this a little bit more than Charter Course, which is a 1 and a blue, and you draw 2 cards, discard a card unless you've attacked this turn. You can do a little bit more surprising with this. I like the fact that it's the red mana instead of the blue mana. It's really dealer's choice there, though. And then the Burst Lightnings for a little bit over the top, and also, Land of War and a couple of other removal pieces. So that's really the deck. It's a lot of fun. I will say, most important if you want to try to play this deck is that this deck list is actually not very fixed in place, right? There's a lot of cards in the Charming Scoundrel, even the Intis and Fear of Missing Outs, the Thrill of Possibilities that you can take out and play with. This would be a great deck to do best of 3 with if you're into that. For the lands, the Verges, I haven't crafted all of them. If you've got all 4 of them, I would run all 4 of them and just drop the basic lands. The Canals, I think, are worth having. You really don't need to play more fast lands than that, but if you got them, play them. I would not play the Surveil or the Scry lands in this deck. The deck wants to be a little bit too aggressive for that. If that's something you're looking for, you're probably building out to the Monument version instead, where you're running Ill-Time Explosions and the Monuments to grind out a game. All right, Wizards, let's get into the games. Playing against Johnny 525. Canal, Mountain, Barrage, Sea Scourge, Burst Lightning, Charming Scoundrel, and Thrill Possibility. This is keepable. It's not amazing. We lack the Mako turn 1. We lack the Skydive turn 2. What's that card actually called? Skyray turn 2. I would have preferred to see a Llanowar Elf just so we could burn it here, but that's unfortunately not what happens. We'll play the Charming Scoundrel. We will bin and draw a card, and I think we're going to get rid of one of these Broadside Barrages. Find an island that's actually not meaningless since we didn't have a land previously. Happy enough to trade that Broadside Barrage for it. Opponent reveals their Golgari, drops nowhere to run. Nothing much we can do about that. That's fine. We get the Spirebluff Canal, so we'll go ahead and run that. We'll drop Thrill of Possibility. I think it's the Burst Lightning here. I want to hold up that island just in case we don't find other answers. We do find a Mako. A little late. We are definitely running slow here. If opponent's got a ton of extra removal, which is very possible in green-black, we could be in for some trouble. Rock Caller. Not a card I see often. Not immediately a problem for us. We have no way to discard this turn if we use the Sea Scourge. I think we just Broadside Barrage it. Bin the island, I guess. Get the +1. Get in for 2. Next turn, this costs 2 to cycle? It does. Alright, they have got the Playable Passage that transforms into an untapped land because it will be their 4th. So they got 4 mana to play with here, which is quite a bit. Nowhere to Run comes down, kills our Mako. We could play Howler. He doesn't get the ward at all. Thrillroller comes down, which is amazing. I think we just play both of those. Yeah, I think that's what I'm about here. Get in for 4. And be setting up for next turns. Again, running slow here. We typically want to see our opponent down to like 3 or 5 by this kind of turn. I don't think we're out of the game, though. Opponent's running a slightly off deck for Golgari. The Nowhere Wrens are very, very powerful cards, of course. But investing in the Rock Caller, I think, means that this might not be a very standard deck. We do see Bloodletter come down, and we get Chandra Spark Hunter. This is great. I think we're going to bin the Howler for it. We are going to sacrifice or discard a card. We are going to discard a card. Scourge goes. Skyray gets bigger. We just find the Verge, which doesn't do as much, but Chandra will tap the Thrillroller together and attack with it. And I think we'll actually let the Skyray sit back for blocking. They actually say, I'm good with letting you kill that. Very curious. Thrillroller can come back for pretty cheap here. Thrillroller, of course, coming back as a creature the turn we play it. So yeah, I think that's the play here. We bin the island. Skyray gets bigger. Thrillroller comes out. Becomes a creature. I think we do the +0 here, which means it gets to come in for free and gets haste. And then we attack all 3. That's 10 damage facing them down. They can get 3 damage back on our Chandra. That's fine. Chandra's done more than enough work for us. In fact, one more discard and Skyray can finish off this game. So they're in a really difficult position here. They essentially need to kill off Skyray and Thrillroller in the same turn. Moss Dread Knight does not do it. Deep Cavern Bat is a good start. There are a couple of potential cards we could find that clear the way for us. A second Chandra is hilarious, but not what we need. Let's go ahead and +2 here. We'll go ahead and discard the card. Find Mako. Go ahead and cycle Mako as well. There's better cards here we can find. Burst Lightning is indeed that card. We'll kill off the Deep Cavern Bat. Go to combat, get the Thrillroller, and they're going to go ahead and scoop. Yep. Little slow. Opponent playing definitely not a very optimized deck, but ultimately I think a pretty good showcase of why you want Chandra in the deck. just such a good card in this particular setup. I don't know about in general. I don't know that it's going to make waves in the overall format, but I'm loving it. Okay, playing against second. This looks like a keepable hand. We're missing some things we love. Verge is mountain without the... Oops, can't do that. Verge is mountain without the island down, the island or the mountain. It is the correct course of the colors for us, at least in this deck. Find an island. It's tempting to cycle this. I think we go for the attack first. They have nothing. Still going to play it down. I think the Skyray is better for itself as a creature than as the +1/+1 counter. Opponent plays Carrot Kick, so we don't actually want to play out all our creatures, right? They're probably running sweepers. I will go ahead and cycle the Mako here. I think the 2 counters is good. Still finding a lot of lands. Well, thankfully we were able to bin some of them. And what I'm hoping for is that we hold up Thrillroller and Scourge until after the board wipes. Monument to Endurance. That's not what I thought this was. Play a second mountain. We will bin Mako again. Get the counters. They don't look like they have any interaction. Drop them to 11. They need a board wipe this turn or next turn at latest. If they don't have the board wipe this turn, though... Okay, there it is. I was going to say we might actually still be able to just straight kill them. Not quite. We'll do Gastal Thrillroller. Get in there for 4. Chandra comes down next turn, I think, since we have the Thrillroller out. I think it's a little bit better than the Scourge. It's possible it gets countered. Not much we can do about that if so. Looks like they do have counter. 3 steps ahead. This is not legendary. We could potentially Gastal Thrillroller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we draw the land, we can Scourge and Thrillroller and swing for 8. They make treasure tokens, which makes me think they have another counter. That's Caretaker's Talent coming down, though. They've still got 3 mana up, which is enough for 3 steps ahead. We see Scourge off the top, so we'll definitely throw a second one of those out. We unfortunately don't have enough land for anything else, though. There's the Refute. Okay. Draw a card, discard a card, which means they do get a Monument to Endurance trigger. Lose 3 life. Okay. We're still in a really solid spot here, though. They've got 1 more card, 3 extra life. They are pinging us with a Monument, but I don't know that this is going to be fast enough for them. They're going to take a draw? Nope. They do the 3. They do get a draw off that. Okay. What was that? Treasure token, I think? Broadside Barrage is useless for us, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and try to drop the second Scourge. Oh no, the other Refute. Okay. Opponent might have gotten to a spot where they're too controlling now. It wasn't the board wipe, right? It was the 3 steps ahead, probably, that really sealed the deal for them. All the cards, all the heal. We can Broadside Barrage the bunny, I guess. The second Monument comes down. That's huge for them. They can now deal 6 damage a turn, which means we're basically got to kill them next turn. Yep, got to kill them next turn now. So what do we need to draw here? Gastal Thrillroller 1 does not do it. A land does not do it. Burst Lightning I don't think does it either, right? Like, I guess we can play Gastal Thrillroller. Hold up 4 mana, which is not enough. And if they counter this, we're just done. Oh, they just got the kill anyways. Good game. Cycled card. I mean, we can hit them with the good old Burst Lightning to face. And then die. Cool. A little bit too slow for us, unfortunately. I don't think we've made any poor decisions with the cycling. We could have had another creature, but we knew that they were going to sweep us on turn 4, or had a relatively good idea that that's how the game had to go for them to win. And unfortunately, we couldn't get there.